this? I have been trying so hard to get my rose bushes to grow, and now this. Well, I don't care what it is. I'm going to stop it from spreading to my other plants. This kills bugs. This ought to do it.
Beth, what do you think you're doing?
Who are you?
I'm Gordon Guardian, your gardening angel. I'm here to help you learn to protect yourself, your family, and the environment with the proper use of pesticides.
I don't need a gardening angel. I think you better leave.
Oh, you don't think you need me, eh? Well, right off the top of my head, I can think of several things that you're doing wrong. What are you thinking of?
Well, I've been trying so hard to get my roses to grow, and I noticed something was eating them. Well, I decided to take action and get rid of whatever was doing the damage.
So, you identified the cause of the problem, selected the proper pesticide, and are applying it according to the directions on the label.
Well, not exactly, but this is an all-purpose pesticide. Does it matter as long as it works?
Well, I can see that I've got my work cut out for me. Before you use anything, you should know what sort of pest you're dealing with. Many of the same symptoms can be caused by insects, disease, nematodes, or weeds. You need to identify the problem before choosing the safest and most appropriate means of dealing with it. Pesticides are not always the proper way.
I don't even know what nematodes are, much less if my roses have them. What should I do?
Take a sample of your damaged plant to your local county extension service office. One of their agents should be able to help you.
Oh, I discovered that something was attacking my roses, and since I don't really know what the problem is, I figure I better ask an expert. Whatever it is, I just want to get rid of it.
Well, there are a lot of different plant pathogens and pests, especially with the type of weather we've been experiencing lately. But I think it's important for you to understand that there are 5 main groups of pests. The first group that could be causing you problems includes insects, mites, ticks, and spiders. Then there are vertebrate animals like rabbits or chipmunks. Snails or slugs are another possibility. It could also be weeds. If you don't keep the weeds out, they could be inviting other pests. There are plant disease agents as well, like powdery mildew. From the looks of the plant and the description you've given me, I'd say that your plant has rose slugs.
Well, what should I do about that? I've got this spray I was going to use, but from what I understand, it might not be what I need.
You're right. There are several different types of pesticides, and determining which one to use can seem very complicated. But many people think that a pesticide is only something that kills insects. Well, in reality, a pesticide is any substance that's intended for preventing, destroying, or repelling certain pests. You could use insecticides to control insect problems. There are fungicides for fungal disease agents, herbicides for weeds, and so on. They're all considered pesticides. Most people automatically assume that a pesticide is a chemical agent, but there are alternatives to chemicals. With the concern over the environment, these alternatives are becoming more and more popular. But no matter what you use, make sure that you apply it in the proper amounts. I know that there is a real tendency to reason that if a little bit will kill them, then a lot will kill even more, and I'm afraid to say it just doesn't work that way.
Well, what are some of the alternatives? I'm not sure I'm aware of anything but chemical pesticides.
Well, they break down into a group of 3. A really important alternative method is the use of cultural practices. Healthy plants are less susceptible to attack by diseases, insects, and weeds, and there are certain ways of planting, tilling, and harvesting which can reduce and control pests in your garden. Some examples of these include buying healthy, disease-resistant cultivars and locating your garden in well-drained soil with good air movement. You'll need to keep the area free of weeds and diseases by using mulch, watering the garden at least an inch deep per week, and keeping tobacco products out of the garden area. Most people don't realize that tobacco carries a virus that can infect some plants. Fertilizing properly will help keep plants healthy as well. Since disease agents can enter the plants through moisture on the leaves, you should avoid wetting the foliage. At the end of the season, it's also a good idea to clean up your garden. This helps cut down the number of pests for the next growing season. A second alternative is to use biological controls. With this option, you release specific parasites, predators, or disease agents into a given environment to control unwanted pests. The bacteria Bacillus thuringiensis can control some insects in the garden, and the use of juvenile hormones and sex attractants called pheromones can be beneficial in controlling certain insects, especially in the orchard. Remember that all insects are not harmful to plants. In fact, some insects like praying mantis, ladybugs, and honeybees are actually very beneficial in the garden. A third alternative is the use of mechanical or physical controls, such as hoeing, hand-picking off insects, or simply removing diseased plants. You can also control certain pests through the use of traps, barriers, and fences. If you do decide that a chemical pesticide is necessary, be sure and select a product that is labeled for your specific problem on your specific plant. And remember, before you buy the pesticide, always read the label.
Boy, there's a lot more to selecting a pesticide than I ever thought of. Well, I'll be sure to keep those alternatives in mind, but I think I'm going to stick with a chemical pesticide to deal with the rose slugs. Listen, thank you so much for your help.
Oh, it was my pleasure, and good luck. But remember, always read the label. Listen, why don't you take one of these with you when you go, and then that'll help you out.
Oh, it's you.
Congratulations for making the trip to see your county extension agent. I understand that he gave you a lot of good information.
Well, yes, it appears that my roses have rose slugs, so I'm getting this pesticide because the label says it will work.
Think that container is big enough? Bigger is not always better, you know.
Well, it's on sale. I figure I buy the larger, more economical size. That way, if the pests come back next year, I'll have plenty left over.
Sounds reasonable, but it's not a good idea to buy more pesticide than you'll use in a year's time. Pesticide storage can be messy and hazardous. And besides, who knows if it's left on the shelf long enough? Will it still work? Did you know that if you fail to use and dispose of pesticides properly, you could be guilty of breaking the law?
How do you know so much about this stuff?
Easy. I read the label. Now, see, everything that you need is right there. Now, and look for yourself. There's the brand name, type of formulation, and the common name.
Yeah, so there are liquid formulas and dry formulas. What's the big deal?
Well, there are some pesticides that you have to mix, and there are some that are ready to use.
Well, if the formulations are so complicated, then I shouldn't even be using this stuff.
It's really not that bad once you understand what's on the label. All the information that you need is there. Now go on. What are the next items on the label?
There's the ingredient statement, net contents, active ingredients, manufacturer, registration number, and a keep out of reach of children statement. Is this stuff really that dangerous to humans and animals?
All pesticides are toxic. How toxic depends on product type, concentration, and method used. Now, pesticide toxicity is expressed in terms of something called lethal dosage 50, or LD50. Now, this is the standard lethal level established for all potentially deadly chemical substances, including pesticides. The lower the LD50 number, the less it takes to kill you. Now, pesticides are grouped into 4 classes according to their toxicity levels. If you see danger and poison in red letters with a skull and crossbones, the pesticide is extremely toxic to humans and animals. Anything from a taste to a teaspoonful of the stuff can kill an adult. The word danger alone indicates that the substance is highly corrosive. It easily burns the skin and eyes. The word warning indicates that the pesticide is moderately toxic. A teaspoonful to a tablespoon can kill an adult. There is slight toxicity if caution is on the product label. This means that you'd need to consume an ounce or more to kill an adult. See? Here on the label, it gives a precautionary statement about use around humans, animals, and the environment. It's also a good idea to read the first aid instructions before you use the product in case of an accident.
Sure doesn't take much for this stuff to be deadly. No wonder it's a must to keep it out of the reach of children. But I really don't have to worry about that. I mean, it's not like I'm going to drink this stuff.
That brings up a good point, Beth. there is more than one way for pesticides to enter the body. Actually, there are three. The most common way that we think of pesticides entering the body is through the mouth or orally. This includes more than just accidentally drinking the pesticide. The pesticide can enter your mouth if you don't wash your hands before eating, drinking, or smoking. It is also important to make sure that all produce that has been treated with pesticides are not eaten before the given days to harvest. In any case, wash your produce well before you eat it. A pesticide can also enter your body through the skin or dermally. You definitely want to avoid splashing any on your skin or eyes. Always wear protective clothing and wash yourself and your clothes after each pesticide use. Inhaling or breathing the vapors or fumes given off by the pesticides is the third mode of entry. Protective gear and good ventilation are definitely required.
Wow, I am almost overwhelmed by everything that's on this label. Look at this stuff. It tells you how to dispose of it and how to store it. I've always taken pesticides for granted. I guess I've got some reading to do. Couldn't resist, huh? What did I do wrong this time? Oh, wait, let me guess. I wasn't supposed to put that stuff next to my groceries.
Very good. You ought to put it in the trunk in something that won't tip over.
Thanks, Gordon. I will. My gardening angel. Well, you know, I haven't even begun to do anything yet, but I suppose you're going to tell me otherwise.
Well, let's see. You got the proper pesticide, and you got it home safely. But what's this? Mixing chemicals in the garage?
Well, what's wrong with that? I've always done it that way.
Well, first of all, look around you. See your pet and your daughter over there? What would happen if there was an accidental spill?
Well, I've read all the parts on mixing.
Don't forget to read the precautionary statements about the hazards to animals and humans. Well, this whole scene could turn into a safety nightmare. First of all, remember to keep all children and pets away from mixing, application, and storage areas. Always mix outside if possible, but if you do mix indoors, do so in a well-lighted and ventilated area. Make sure you're not alone and that all food, dishes, and such are kept away. Use tools designated for pesticide use only, such as measuring cups and mixing spoons when you are working with a pesticide. Read the label. Does it mention anything in there about protective clothing? I don't think that what you're wearing would give you much protection in case of an accidental spill. Remember the three modes of entry into the body. The proper gear will help prevent any pesticide from making contact with your skin, eyes, mouth, and nose.
What should I wear?
Wear a long-sleeve shirt, long pants, unlined gloves, closed shoes or unlined boots. A hat without a fabric hatband and goggles or a face shield will protect your head. Keep your sleeves over your gloves and your pants over your footwear. Leather products can absorb and retain pesticides, so leather wear is out.
This seems like overkill. Think I have enough on?
Well, you can wear this now and be safe, or run the risk of seriously contaminating yourself later on. It's up to you.
All right, all right. Is there anything else I should know before I start mixing this stuff?
Well, actually, there is. What if you splash some of this on your skin or in your eyes? Or worse yet, what if your child drank some of it? But remember, it only takes a small amount to prove deadly. Would you know what first aid measures to take if any of these things could happen?
Well, I suppose I'd call my doctor or the hospital.
Well, pretty good, but be prepared. If you read the directions first, then you'll know what to do. And keep the emergency numbers near the phone. If you are taking someone to get emergency care, remember to take the pesticide label with you. It will help the attending medical team know what they're treating. Sometimes it's not so evident that someone has been poisoned by a pesticide. There is usually a pattern of signs and symptoms that each type of chemical pesticide follows. Most of these signs and symptoms of poisoning show up within 12 hours after exposure.
What kind of signs and symptoms should I look for?
Well, they vary from mild to severe poisoning. Mild poisoning symptoms include fatigue, headache, dizziness, blurred vision, excessive sweating and salivation, nausea, vomiting, stomach cramps, and diarrhea. Severe poisoning symptoms include difficulty in walking, weakness, chest pain, pupillary changes, muscle twitches, mouth and nose secretion, breathing difficulties, convulsions, and unconsciousness.
Hey, I see it. The label even gives first aid procedures to follow while I'm at home. It says, if pesticide is on the skin, remove clothes at once and rinse skin with large amounts of cool, clean water. Make sure that your hands and fingernails are free of any pesticide. If you splash the pesticide in your eyes, immediately flush your eyes with a clean, cool stream of water for at least 15 minutes. If there is a pesticide in your mouth or that has been swallowed, be sure to contact the Poison Control Center to find out what to do. Some measures, such as vomiting or diluting the poison, may actually be more harmful for some poisons. Get medical help. If someone inhales the pesticide, get them to fresh air immediately. Loosen their clothing and perform CPR if needed. Gordon!
You rang? What seems to be the problem? You've got the proper amount of pesticide and you're properly dressed.
Well, the sprayer isn't working very well, and when it does, it just blows all over the place. What should I do?
Well, there are a number of different types of hand sprayers that can be used. Pressurized cans are convenient to use and store, but they can explode or catch fire. Hose end sprayers eliminate some of the mixing, but you're never quite sure you're applying an adequate ratio of water to chemical, and the pesticide can enter your watering hose. Backpacks can make carrying the pesticide easier during application, but they can leak all over you. 2 to 3 gallon tank pump sprayers and trigger sprays seem to be the safest ways of applying some pesticides. The important thing is to use a sprayer that is appropriate in size for the job, is clean, and working properly. Test run with water to check for clogs and leaks before you actually use it with the pesticide. And use separate equipment for insecticides and herbicides. This sprayer you're using should work just fine for this job.
Great.
Wait a minute. With all this wind, your spray isn't even hitting your plant. It's blowing over into your neighbor's yard. Wait to spray on a calm day, in the morning, and with a low-pressure nozzle. Also, decrease the distance between the nozzle and the target plant. Now, if I've told you once, I've told you 1,000 times. Read the label. If haphazardly applied or in too large a quantity, well, there can be damage from drift in the air currents, soil runoff or erosion polluting streams and ponds, leaching through soil into the groundwater, and residue on crops. Some pesticides are persistent. That is, they remain effective long after they are used and no longer needed or wanted. If you don't apply pesticides properly, you can even damage your plants. Improper use can lead to leaf burn, yellowing, abnormal growth, and even root damage.
Got any tips on when I should be doing this?
Don't spray your plants when they are overly dry or wilting, which indicates water stress. High temperatures over 90 degrees can cause some pesticides to become harmful to the plants you're trying to protect. Spraying in the morning, when the humidity is low, will reduce the time that the pesticide sits on the plant tissues. Just read the label, be accurate, and use good judgment when applying a pesticide. Good for you, you're reading the label. Tell me, how should you handle a spill?
It says to cover the liquid with absorbent material like kitty litter or sawdust. Then I'm supposed to sweep that up with a disposable tool, such as a newspaper, into a non-corroding container. I should then seal the container and label it with the pesticide name. It also says that I should never pour anything down the sink or in the sewer. Finally, I should wash the surface with soap and water. Oh, let's see. This pesticide is in its original container with the label intact. Oh, this cabinet should be a good place to store this pesticide. It's in a cool, dry, insulated spot, well ventilated. It's away from direct sunlight, and it's fire resistant. And with that lock, I can keep little hands away.
Well, I see you finally learned the lesson, and that my job with you is almost complete. Now that you've finished with the pesticide, wash your clothes separately from everything else, and make sure you use lots of hot water and detergent. And don't forget to store your protective gear away from the pesticide. And don't forget to take a complete shower yourself, and be sure to use lots of shampoo, soap, and hot water immediately after each use.
I know. Thanks for the tips, Gordon. And if anything, I've learned one thing. Read the label. Take care.
If you'd like more information regarding pesticide use and safety in the home, check with your local county extension service.